Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while side-eyeing this mom and confronting our religious trauma. HBs. We've got a beautiful YA romance for you today, but before that, I gotta tell you about what's coming out on the bonus feed this week. This Friday, Sabrina and I are talking about some reality dating show tea. I don't know if you're watching Age of Attraction on Netflix, but it's bananas, and we get into it. This week, we're finally getting to Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I promised it a few weeks ago, and then we had to move the schedule around to accommodate our St. Vincent Day shenanigans. So, in this episode's timeline, we read the book right after For Whom the Bell Tolls by Jaysea Lynn. So, you could say that our religious trauma was like right there at the surface during the reading experience. That might be important context for our recap of Autobiography by Christina Lauren. Here's part one. What do you think the universe is trying to tell us, Sabrina?
That's a loaded question.
I mean, look, man, I haven't experienced so much religious trauma back to back in my fiction.
Okay, Melody, I had the same thought when I was reading this book. I was like, I didn't realize that religious trauma was in this book too. How did we end up? Okay, so Melody, beyond that even, I need you to understand. Okay, listener, we're just kind of hopping right into it.
We're doing it. We're here now.
Because we're doing Autobiography.
What a fucking beautiful book again.
Autobiography. But that I need you to understand that word has been fucking me up all week.
Has it?
Because my brain is like, autobiography. How do you, and then my brain's like, how do you say autobiography? Just add a boy instead of a bi. And it's like, it's autobiography. And I'm like, no, that's wrong. And my brain is like, autobiography, graphy. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Stop. And
that's super funny.
And then I was talking to somebody. I was like, yeah, and it's so frustrating because it's literally the same word, just with a slightly different syllable and sound that you make in the middle of it. And they're like, the same as what word? And I was like, autobiography. And I was like, fuck, it's infected the rest of my language. Anyway, it's been an experience. But Melody, I need you to understand, has Christina Lauren been watching me? Because I moved sophomore year of high school from a fairly progressive place. Sophomore year of high school, I moved to a town that is mostly Mormon and went to high school in a mostly Mormon place, town.
Did I not know that?
Yeah, there's pockets, right? My high school just happened to have a very my area had a very high Mormon population, and I think the funniest thing is that I'm not Mormon. I was not raised Mormon, but I know a fuckload about Mormonism because of it.
Right.
And listening to Tanner talk about his experience, like knowing Mormons, going to Mormon, all of these things, like going to their homes, talking about like the like Mormon lights that he knows versus the like really intense Mormons.
Right,
I was like,
the super devout Mormons. Yeah.
Hey, can we like close the curtains for half a second? I'm not in a place where I want to be reliving high school, but by God, if that's not what this fucking book made me do, I was like, it was crazy. I literally in therapy was like, hey, so you remember that stuff we haven't really started talking about from like high school? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I think we need to start talking about it. She's like, why? And I was like, there's this fucking book I'm reading and it can't help but bring back everything from high school.
Yes. Well, meanwhile, I had a different experience because there are like several pockets of Mormonism in the area I grew up in as well, in Oregon. But senior year of high school, a friend of mine decided that she wanted to go what she was calling religion shopping. I think I've told you about this before, but I'm not sure. So I spent a good part of that.
I love that term.
I know, right? Because she just felt like she needed something. She wanted to belong somewhere, you know? And so I was like, look, man, let's go on this journey. I'll be your emotional support human on the way to wherever you're going to end up. And so I went with her to a bunch of different like places and churches and synagogue and like all the business. And we ended up at a Mormon dance at one point because she was flirting with Mormonism. And that's where she ended up. That's where I learned.
Wild.
I know. That's where I learned my favorite version of the line dance to Cotton Eye Joe. And that's where I was like, wow, there is like a huge benefit. Like one thing that Mormonism has done incredibly well is like turn the church culture into a lifestyle, like a capital L lifestyle. And a lot of the things are actually incredibly fun. I've never been to a more fun dance, you know, like
I was friends with a lot of Mormons by proxy because one of my friends post high school did end up converting to Mormonism. And like during high school, right after high school, I went to a lot of events that were also like half of my neighbors were Mormon. Yeah. And so like, I had no idea. Right? Sure. Like I didn't know until it was there, which is wild because like Mormonism is very known for like going out and preaching
being out and proud. Yeah.
Yeah. And so finding out that some of them were more, I was like, what? You? Okay. Sure. Okay. I was not expecting that. But like, wow. Part of what hit so hard about reading this book is him talking about the good parts. Right?
Yes.
And being like, I get why. Yeah. These people, and it's like, woof. Okay. Cause like, let me tell you, as somebody who grew up poor, right, and moving around a lot and like single mom and like all sorts of other things, like, I get it. I get why people end up, especially like something like this where community is so intense. Absolutely. And like everybody, like it is a quote unquote built-in family. You know, where like you join and then suddenly you just have a community. And like Tanner's not kidding. A lot of the Mormons I knew were the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Well, and I think part of it is that like the bedrock of Mormonism is stability of family, you know? Yeah. And in a lot of ways, that's like super fucking healthy, you know? It's just like all the rest of it that gets inserted and heaped on and, you know, is hanging out in the background and all the business that ends up causing problems. Because let's be clear, I think she might still be Mormon, but she's obviously less loud about it. And like 3 years later, she was married and divorced. My friend who ended up in Mormonism. Yeah, she ended up in an abusive relationship with a Mormon guy. And they were like doing the Mormon family thing. And then she was divorced and on her own. And it was like a whole thing, right? So there is a lot of badness to it. just like every other religion.
I don't know. It's complicated because I have very strong opinions about organized religion.
Yeah, in general.
And so, yeah, especially miscellaneous and basically any sect of Christianity, I'm going to have some pretty fucking strong opinions about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they know how we feel about different sects of Christianity at this point.
Oh, God, especially after reading fucking For Whom the Bell Tolls and then this, it's like, son of a gun. We really stepped it. We crawled out of our digging pits right into the pearly gates, and we're just knocking on those doors. You know, we're like, hey, we'd like to discuss our Lord and Savior smut with you.
Truly. Actually, did I tell you that happened to me a couple of months ago when some missionaries came to my door? Not Mormon missionaries. I think just like, you know, Christian missionaries or something. Maybe Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know. I didn't let them get that far. But they came to my door and they were like, they asked me a question. I think it was like, what are the things that make you the happiest or something? And I said, my family, gardening, and really smutty romance novels. And they were like, oh. And then I ended up telling them about the podcast. I ended up evangelizing to them. and then they were like, okay, well, do you mind if we stop by again? And I was like, sure, man. Come back if you want.
Yeah.
It'll be more of this, though.
I'll tell you more about Monster Cock. It's fine.
Let a bitch know.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. I just have really strong opinions about evangelizing and proselytizing and getting out there and basically a lot
and
of what...
my biggest thing, my biggest fucking thing, my biggest opinions about organized religion in general, but Christianity specifically, is just that humans ruin everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so much of it is beautiful, right? It's about forgiveness. It's about welcoming the stranger, feeding the poor, helping everyone, right? Like treating your neighbor as yourself, all of that. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff that happens in, like, you know, greater Christianity. But Mormonism in particular, it's like the gender essentialism drives me a bit bonkers. The out and out, like on the page racism that the church is only slowly walking back on. What we discover here, like the homophobia and the conversion camps, which were like, they were like...
Is this your first time? Is this your first time? You said discover what we discover here. I guess because I was around a lot of Mormons, I know a shocking amount about the history of Mormonism.
Sorry, I don't mean discover, because I do also, partially because one of my other hyper fixations for a really long time was cults, and like the pluralism section of Mormonism is objectively a cult. And so, yeah, I know a bunch about that. And then last podcast on the left did like a 6-episode deep dive into the origins of Mormonism and stuff. They were so good. Anyway, sorry. I don't mean discover, but like what we are entrenched in here, right? Is like the homophobia.
And on top of that, being a bisexual in a Mormon town high school where you're having crushes on like Mormons and stuff. And you're like, oh, this isn't gonna work out.
Yikes.
And guess what? Spoiler, it doesn't work out. You know? Like, from experience, having
everything
a crush on
tough.
A queer Mormon is not gonna go your way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so, okay, look, we've got our main character, whose name I totally know, Tanner. He's a bisexual boy, and he's from a really progressive family. They are an interfaith / not faith family because his dad is Jewish and his mom is former LDS, with a bunch of religious trauma that she's like very loud about. And you know
what, lady? I'm going to need you to go to therapy instead of causing internal issues for your son. Frankly, because moving your family to Provo, Utah, and then being like, hey, guess what? Because we moved to this place, you have to go back in the closet, but don't worry, I'll give you bumper stickers to make you feel better. But I won't talk any of the reasons. I won't talk about this religion that you are now surrounded by 80-90% of the populace believes in. I won't keep you informed about all of those things. Like, I just had a lot of issues with the way the mom handled basically this entire.
Sure.
I mean, and that's the killer, is that there were lots of good parts of all of it, right? Like, they're not terrible, mom and dad, but also, like, you're not going to inform your child of this. Like, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to deal with your religious trauma and talk about it a little bit with your son if you're going to make him go back into the closet his sophomore year of high school. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So backstory here is that his dad's a cardiologist. His mom is a programmer extraordinaire. She made like spy software for the government and parents.
Oh my
That's
God.
another
And
thing we
go
gotta
fuck
talk
yourself
about.
with the parental. Oh, I have a lot of opinions coming up.
Yeah. So anyway, he grew up in Palo Alto, like Silicon Valley, California area. And then she got a job offer to go back to Utah for like many more monies and stuff, and a very cool job. And so his dad was saying it's an opportunity she couldn't pass up. And she was saying, like, I don't think I can do that to our son, who we found out like 2 months ago is queer because of our spy software. It's fine. And like,
it's not fine. I won't even make jokes about it being fine. I won't even allow jokes to be made. Go fuck yourself. Continue.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Anyway, so now she's back, and she left the church. She grew up LDS, and she left the church because her sister came out as gay, and her parents immediately disowned her. And so she was like, well, fuck that and fuck you. And she quit the church. She dropped out of BYU. She went with her sister to California, and they ended up like living together and surviving and going to college and, you know, being their own family. So the mom has legitimate religious trauma, and there are legitimate reasons for her to be worried. But my thing is, like, especially since their house is so accepting, I feel like in this environment, the worst that would happen is that, like, he might have less friends, ? Or, like, they might get side-eyed on the sidewalk at some point. But I didn't really understand why, especially if she doesn't want him dating any Mormons, boy or girl. I would think you would want him to be out and proud so that all the Mormon parents at the very least would be like, stay away from that one, you know, like he's never going to be what our family accepts. I don't know. It seemed like a really weird thing to do, to like push him back in the closet. And then in the house, they're like this gay sanctuary. They're like, everything's rainbows and butterflies and look at my apron. It says that I'm proud of you because you're gay, even though he's not. Yeah. Like, it's a whole thing.
So I was very, very aware reading this book that I am coming in. And like I said, this book is a were you following me kind of book to a level that was kind of bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, obviously that is not the case. They don't have parentelgencia or whatever the fuck this parent spy software is for watching. But like, I'm coming in with some pretty harsh opinions just because it was so parallel, right?
Yeah, sure.
Or not harsh opinions, but strong. I'd say strong opinions. How fucking dare you move? Especially because the way it sounds, they were just fine where they lived. I understand that this was a really cool opportunity and stuff like that, but like,
And their big salaries go a lot farther in Utah than they do in Palo Alto, but still, it's yikes.
This wasn't a fucking like I have very conflicting feelings about forcing your family into a situation like this for career reasons, because that's how I ended up in Mormontown.
Sure.
Was also career reasons, despite it objectively not being the greatest decision for me, which dives into a lot of my own personal trauma. Yeah. But like the fact that the way that this kid got brought out, forced out of the closet, even if your family is being accepting, is because of parents' spy software. And then
his parents installed spy software that the mom
I'm very
wrote.
Curious about your opinions on this as a parent, because I was fucking pissed.
Yes. I hear that. And I'm warring with the idea. Here's the thing. I would have told him the software was going on the computer. That's the part that drives me nuts.
That's what drives me crazy.
Don't do a gotcha.
Who gives a shit if there's software like that? Whatever. It exists. It's going to be a thing. But like, there needs to be some informed use of any technology that you are being virtually watched on.
Especially if you are going to actively out your son when you find out he's watching gay porn. That's how they end up having that conversation.
They're like, and their reasonings were, we just don't want you to get like sex ideas from Unreal, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Great. Awesome. Guess what? Go fuck, like, I don't even know how to put it into words. I was fuming with this software.
Yeah. So not telling him it was on there and then like catching him out loud to him. Okay, one of my favorite books, it's like a comfort read, even though it is a bunch of religious trauma too, is Goodbye Paradise by Sabrina Bowen. And it is two boys. Weird,
goddamn.
Right?
Okay,
yeah,
Melody.
I know. But it's these two boys who escape a Mormon polygamist cult in like Montana or something. And they end up out east in Massachusetts with another cult girl who escaped and her now husband. And one of my favorite things is that when the husband walks in and the boys like don't leap apart, right? Because they're together. They don't leap apart. And he's like, oh gosh, shoot, I always announce that I'm coming in, but I was just so excited to come and tell you this thing. And then one of the characters is thinking about it and he's like, he does. He'll like shout into the house that he's home or like, hey guys, what are you up to? Or something. And he's like, wait, have you known this whole time? It's been months, right? And Daniel, the guy, looks at him and he goes, yeah, so just FYI, when you're using that Google machine, if you don't clear out the history, it'll like populate what you've searched before. And my Google thinks I'm super interested in used carburetors and anal sex. So, like, yeah, I've known for a while. But he never said anything. Because you should wait for the person to come to you, to feel comfortable, to anything. Like, the fact that the parents don't tell him about this software is criminal. It's not okay.
No.
Especially if you're going to approach him about it.
Well, especially because, and I know, like I said, I don't have kids, but I was a kid. And guess what? Kids are humans too. You're training them to be adults, right?
Absolutely.
In this world. And unfortunately, part of this world is 365 days a year digital surveillance by, our
now it
capitalist
is.
overlords.
Yeah.
But like, you forced him out of the closet.
And then forced him back in.
And then forced him back in.
Yeah.
At that age. Like, I could not stop thinking about what that would have been like.
Yeah. And he looks at it like, I'm so lucky that my parents are so accepting. And on one level, that's totally true. They are. They love him for him. They do not care. If anything, If anything, I think his mom like borderline fetishizes his queerness in a way that I did not love.
I thought it was, I wasn't sure how to word it, but I did want to comment on it at some point.
Yeah.
Because it's a level that is weird.
She makes it his entire personality.
Yeah.
He does not.
He is her queer son.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like, there's no other way to define this kid.
And from his perspective, he's like, my parents are really good about allowing their kids to like express themselves in the ways they want, because his sister is like a super angry goth, probably because her parents can't stop shutting up about like how cool their queer son is. And she feels like she's not getting any attention anywhere. Like, where's my bumper sticker that says you're a rain cloud and I love you for it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
where is this?
Listen, awesome people are also flawed, you know? By the way, I feel like I need to say this. I did really love this book. I very much enjoyed this book. Like, it was a beautifully, although, boy, God, this was just another reminder that people are like, man, I miss high school. You couldn't pay me enough.
No.
Because this book is very, like, and Christina Lauren, they're very good at this in general, like, kind of dropping you in and making you feel the things, right?
Sure.
Like, immersing you.
Yeah.
They're so young. I don't read a whole lot of YA anymore, or, like, young adult coming of age kind of stuff, but, like, holy shit. It's been a hot minute, and they really just drop you right back into high school. I was reading this, and I was like, they're so young.
Yeah.
They are so young. Like, and I get it. All of this seems like the end of the fucking world, because this is the end of the world for you. This is the most dramatic, insane feelings you have ever felt in your young lives.
Absolutely.
Like, but the way that they were like experiencing things. And at one point I was like, damn, we're really just like flying through these feelings things in a way that adult romance, even if it does fly through it, I might comment on it or like think on it for a second, but I'm like, yeah, it's a romance. But for whatever reason, in like young adult, new romance, stuff like that, I think it's hard to kind of be like, oh yes, the fantasy of it all. Because guess what? This is how it works in high school. This isn't, oh, we're doing this on a romance timeline. This is just how it is in high school. Your emotions go from they smiled at me and I have a crush and kind of a boner to I'm madly in love and want to be with this person for the rest of my life. And I think part of it is at that age, it's hard for me to believe in an HEA because I'm like,
you're a fetus.
You're a teenager.
Yeah.
You're both teenagers. It's really hard for me to suspend the disbelief that you're going to be together for the rest of your life, which is fine. I love a HFN just as much as I love an HEA. But like, golly. Oh, boy. Oh, God.
And there are a lot of people who end up marrying their high school sweetheart, you know, no matter what their sexuality is or what their... Sure, right? Yes, absolutely. Man, but there is something about a YA that's written so specifically in like a very beautiful, dreamy kind of way, because this book feels different than most of the Christina Lauren books I've read. And it's not because it's not as witty. It's not because it, you know, like it's none of those things, but there is, I'm trying to think of there was a YA book that Aaron and I recapped forever ago. There was a forest bed involved. I'd have to go through our entire episode list. Oh my God.
No, I know. I remember the forest bed though, because it was a recurring thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But that book was similar in that it's written in this like dreamy, lyrical, beautiful way. And I'm wondering if like maybe, I don't know, is it because we're not getting smut, you know? That like they got to put something else up. Do you think it's, I don't know if it's done on purpose or not.
There wasn't. So I'm glad that there was a lot of whimsy as far as sex was concerned. This This was an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, so legally it's fine. But in my heart,
I don't need to see two babies discovering themselves.
In my heart, this feels like a sex crime.
No, totally. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so the actual start of the book is he and his friend Autumn, and they're talking about this special class that I think only seniors can take. And it is a class where by the end of the term, you have written a book. And last year, there was like this, writing savant who ended up writing a book, and then it's like this high fantasy novel, and it got sold to an editor, and now this kid's got a 3-book deal. It also, he graduated last year from this same high school. He's a very, very devout Mormon, and everybody knows it. And the guy is like, yeah, I mean, what's so hard about writing a book? In 4 months? Come on. Anybody can do that. And first of all, wowza.
No, they can't.
What a take. What a hot take.
I'm telling you right now that they can't.
I wouldn't be able to do it. No way. No fucking way. And anyway, so he
I could write 70,000 words.
Sure.
But it's not going to be a book.
It would be a book. Yeah. I could write a 70,000 word term paper. Basically, I have done that.
I could write a 700,000 word personal manifesto in 4 months. I can't write a book.
No, for sure not anything that's legible or adds to the greater good of humanity. You know what I mean?
I do have a question though, Melody, because throughout this book there's snippets of word for word from his post-it notes / his book.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions about the final format of this book.
Because it's all poetry.
Yeah. Did you write 70,000 words of poetry for your book? Because that's even... I can't tell if that's more or less bananas. I feel like it's more bananas. I feel like that's more intense.
Well, but that's the thing, right? One of the things I was saying earlier is that it is written so dreamily and lyrically. It's not in poetry format, but if you just return some words every once in a while, a lot of this book is poetry. If you just make weird parts of the sentence go down on the next line is poetry now. So I don't know. So, and part of that made me really glom on to the fact that this feels like it's written differently, more than just a subgenre situation. And it's perfect for this. I don't know. It's perfect for this subgenre. I think partially because as an older reader, thinking back on my teenage years, it would have to end up being poetry, right? I've lost too much of the nuance in between to be able to write prose about my teenage years, if that makes any sense.
I would say so. It almost,
anyway,
especially coming in as an older reader and not of the age, it does need to be kind of hazy in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. It needs to be a little fog, a little hazy. And like you said, it's beautifully read. This is a beautiful book. It is not Christina Lauren's fault that they happen to pluck a plot that is
hit right at your emotional religious trauma.
But it's a beautiful book. I really enjoyed reading book, even if I had to take breaks.
Right.
To process.
Yeah. So Tanner's plan basically is I'm writing out these 3 years, sophomore to senior year, in the closet. He dates girls every once in a while. He has crushes on boys every once in a while. But his plan is then to go to college, probably UCLA is his number one pick. And then he's going to be out and proud and himself and no fear and boldly, he's going to boldly enter the world as a bisexual being.
Go where bisexual boys from Provo are destined to go,
Hopefully. Yeah.
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 Well, so he joins this class. He has his best friend Autumn, which God, talk about a devastating subplot. And how all of that went, because that also just felt so real from that age where you just have this endless crush on your best friend in high school.
Yeah.
hoping, right? And then it just
Hoping that someday they'll look
It
over
doesn't-
at you and see a romantic interest
and all
or
of a sudden,
romantic
like
spark.
it's like a light bulb goes off, and they're like, "Oh, wow, the
You've
love
been
of my
standing
life
next to me the whole
has been
time."
standing in front of me the entire time."
Yeah, that's how Autumn feels. And
Yeah,
they
and it's
made
like,
out a couple of
Autumn,
years ago.
Baby girl, please.
I know. I know.
God.
Yeah, because they like made out a couple of years ago, and he made it pretty clear that like it was more of a weird experience than anything else, and it's not something he's interested in repeating.
Well, and then
But
it
he
becomes
can
very
tell
clear
that
that like,
interest has lingered for Autumn a bit, but he also doesn't want to talk about it because he wants to stay her best friend. He wants her in his life in any way that she can be, and she
God,
wants the same thing. There's just like a little spark of hope over there.
oh my God, Melody, high school.
She's
is
trying
so
desperately to hide.
fraught. It's so fraught. Like I said, you could not pay me enough. The emotional upheavals of high school
Yeah.
and like the fact. So you know that.
The nerves and anxiety of high school, like having never experienced anything before.
Well, we're
Oof.
having this experience with my friend who just recently had a baby where it's like, it's not that big of a deal. And then like, it's like when she's crying and it's like, oh, actually, this kind of is a big deal because as far as you're concerned, this is quite literally the worst thing that has ever happened to you. This is the most pain you've ever been in. She's teething.
Sure.
Like, this is the most pain you've
babe.
ever been
Yeah,
in.
it's
This is like,
confusing.
oh my
Yeah.
God. Her husband the other this is still the funniest thing. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Because baby is crying and he's like changing the diaper and he's like, it's really not that bad. And like, there's like just talking to her and he's like, oh my God, you don't even know about the Twin Towers, or like you don't even know about 9/11.
Yeah.
When she told us that story, I lost my fucking mind laughing. And now whenever she's upset, all I can think is, you don't even know about 9/11. You don't even know about Palestine. You don't even know about the
Anything.
Holocaust.
Right.
You don't even know about war. Like you, you don't know about Hiroshima.
slavery.
You don't know about like all of these things. It's like it was really just kind of a slap in the face of, yeah, this is quite literally the worst thing that has ever happened to you because you are a baby. And like similarly, this is the most emotionally fraught thing that has ever happened to you because yes, in high school, still baby. You have very little life experience.
Objectively.
And so, like, yeah, everything that is happening right now is going to feel like a freight train through your brain because you don't have the skills to manage these kinds of feelings.
Yeah, you don't have any point of
brand
reference.
new.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
God, high school. Go fuck yourself.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
So Tanner has joined this class basically as an anything you can do, I can do backwards and in heels kind of a situation with Autumn. Like, he's not actually interested in writing a book at all. But then he becomes very interested in writing the book when he sees the TA walk in. Because
hello, Sebastian Brother, the writer savant from last year who is now publishing a book.
Ooh, and there is, oh God, he talks about how last summer Autumn got drunk and she started telling him about all of her deep down feelings.
Oh God.
And some of the things she said was like, your face makes sense to me and I love you, but only a little, etc. And so he couldn't figure out this your face makes sense to me thing until he saw Sebastian Brother walk into the room, and suddenly he understood it down to his core.
Yeah, Autumn being a drunk train wreck to her best friend, like the level of regret that she must have felt the next day, like but also like the uncomfy hope, the hope that like drunk words are sober thoughts, and so like a little bit hoping that he'll come back and be like, yeah, I'm in love with you and want to be with you. Oh boy, Autumn, girly pop. I'm so sorry. This like,
Autumn is truly the unsung hero of this book.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, he has this moment of recognition with Sebastian Brother, the boy who sold the book and who's going to be the mentor. And he can tell, but the way that Tanner processes it is that obviously my crush is so out there. Like, it's so obvious that, like, he's got to know. He's got to know, and now I'm embarrassed, and now I have to, like, keep to myself or whatever. Meanwhile, Autumn has been working on her outline for the book she's going to write in this class for, like, a year. She is in it to win it. And Tanner, meanwhile, doesn't have a single idea. I think by the end of this class, or maybe the second class, he writes down a sentence that's like, queer boy moves to religious small town and ... That's it. That's what he's got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then, because, once again, Mormons are really awesome at, like, staying busy with cool stuff or, like, fun, wholesome things, he goes to an 18-year-old's birthday party.
Frankly, I'm not extroverted enough to be Mormon. The thought of spending this much time with other people makes me want to crawl into a hole.
Sure.
On top of all of the other things like gender essentialism and all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
But like, oh God, every day? You're doing service every day? Bananas.
Well, that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the birthday party.
That's fine. I stand by what I said, that I'm not extroverted enough to be Mormon.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so that weekend, they end up at a laser tag birthday party for an 18-year-old named Manny. Manny is Tongan, and I guess, like, because of a lot of the missionary activity in the Pacific Islands, there are a lot of Polynesian heritage people.
Oh, Manny. Listener, I need you to know now that Manny steps in it. Manny becomes a shockingly important character in this book in a way I wasn't expecting, because he, in the
best way, in the
most
way,
wholesome way possible, he really steps in it
several times. Yeah. Poor Manny. Manny is just easygoing, and he wants to be friends with everyone, and he wants to know that he's cool with you.
This is so, like, I couldn't help but think, I was like, oh my God, I am such a Manny, that, like, I am so bad about, like, I've been out of the closet for so long as far as, like, queerness and things is concerned. And so, like, it's really hard. This is part of the reason I can't date somebody in the closet, is because who am I allowed to tell kind of thing? Like, remembering who's allowed to be told and who's not allowed to be told. Like, I would step in it, and I was like, oh, Manny, baby. You don't know that his best friend knows anything, because guess what? She doesn't know anything. Did we say that, listener? Autumn doesn't know that Tanner is bisexual, and that becomes a pretty important thing.
The only people who knows he's queer live in his house, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And, like his family, right? Because he's got his gay aunt and all the business. But nobody in Provo knows that he is bisexual. So anyway, he's like, all right, here we go. We're doing laser tag. Coolio is not super excited about it. But then Sebastian shows up to same birthday party. It's time to go laser tagging. Thank you so much. And he ends up on Sebastian's team, the blue team. And they're like standing next to each other, putting their vests on and getting their guns and stuff. And then in the laser tag situation, Tanner gets into a spot of trouble. You know, he gets shot in a way that his gun won't work and somebody's coming. And then a body slams into him and gets him into this alcove. And he's standing with his back to this person's front. And he says, oh, thank you so much. And then Sebastian Brother says, no problem. It's my pleasure. Believe me. He doesn't say that at all.
Oh my
He acts totally cool about it.
Oh my God. Melody is writing fan fiction again. It's fine.
I am.
Yeah. So he like yoinks him into this corner. They're like alone in this corner for like 10 seconds. And the entire time, Tanner's heart is about to drop out of his asshole along with his stomach. And then his everything powers back on because he's back to life. And then they go take out the red team base and they
together.
win.
They win dual-handedly, them together.
And obviously, this is a sign that they're meant for each other. They're made to be together forever, except for the fact that, hey, I don't know if we mentioned this. Sebastian is not only Latter-day Saint. Sebastian is also the bishop's son.
Yes. Although I will say that Sebastian does actually take this as basically a sign from Heavenly Father that, like, it would be fine. You know? It would probably be fine.
Yeah. No. 10,000%. Sebastian takes every interaction. Well, and it was really interesting, Sebastian's experiences.
The way he processes his religion versus this new relationship.
Well, yeah, because it's the organized religion versus his personal relationship with his Heavenly Father, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Where the religion says bad.
Yeah.
And they don't believe in thought crime. So you can have thoughts about doing things with the other sex.
You can have an attraction.
Or the same sex. But if you act on it, that is when it becomes a sin. Which, there's not enough time.
No, there's not enough time.
The world to dive into that.
No.
But later in the book, he's like, I prayed and it feels right. God is not telling me that this is bad.
Yeah.
In fact, he's telling me that it's good.
Yeah, guilt is an indication that I'm on the wrong path or like God wouldn't approve, but I don't feel that way at all. I pray about it and I feel peace. And that tells me that all of this is fine. And he says, sometimes I wonder if it's God or if it's the church who cares about this. And Tanner says, I mean, with respect, no God.
The church.
Yeah, he's like, no God that's worth your lifetime eternal love would disapprove of who you love while you're here, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, the teacher kind of accidentally sets them up because the teacher is like, oh, you're behind on your outline. You're not super sure what you want to do. Sebastian can absolutely help you with that. And Sebastian says, I have time this weekend to help you. Even though, like, they're in class right now.
Pardon?
Yeah. And he's like, I suppose that would work. You're sure? And he's like, yeah, let's meet up on Saturday. And so they end up in like the writer's alcove of the Provo Library together. And it's so cute. He's a little bit late. Sebastian's a little bit late. And don't they just like go over the outline at this point? Like they barely talk about the book because they can't talk about much until he's actually written something. Well, they talk about the thesis statement, basically. The kernel.
Well, because they look at it, he pulls it out to show Sebastian and he didn't remove the word queer.
Yes.
And Sebastian's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh? okay. And then they have this like weird stilted back and forth where Sebastian's like, It's fine. Everything's fine." But also like it's very clear that something has shifted for Sebastian brother.
Yeah. And he knows that like a lot of the people in there are writing fiction, but he finds out here that Tanner is bisexual. I'm pretty sure he also finds out here that his parents know and totally accept him. And he also is like, wait, so this character just moved to this religious town? And he's like, yeah, pretty recently. And then he's like, fuck, he would know that about me. I will. Does he think this is about me? Because it is. Like, it
Guess
totally
what?
is.
It's an autobiography.
It is quite. Yeah. And Sebastian says, I would love to help you. I'm not sure that I can really relate to the subject matter and help with that. And he goes, oh, yeah, because dragons and potions and magic are like so much more accessible, because that's what his book is about. And he's like, okay, touche. How dare you? And then Sebastian takes out a scrap of paper from his pocket, a pre-written scrap of paper, hands it to Tanner, and it is his phone number.
Bro, you know that Sebastian sat at his fucking desk for so long, being like, is it going to be obvious that I'm into this guy if I write down my phone number on this piece of paper and give it to him?
Like, how many of those ended up balled up and in the trash can, and then he like decided that no, he was going to be brave, and so he writes it out again. You know? Like, I'm sure he was like worried about his penmanship. Was Sebastian? He had to rewrite one because like the 8 looked a little wonky at one point. You know, like he agonized over this, and Tanner recognizes that. And he's like, I don't know if like he's picking up what I'm putting down, because Sebastian says, call me anytime, text me anytime. We can hang out and talk about your book if you want or whatever. And then Tanner says, I do want to hang out again. And there's like this pregnant pause, and Tanner's thinking to himself, does he know what I mean by that? Like, he knows I'm bisexual, but does he, it is it's quintessential high school teenage first kind of love. It's so cute. So anyway, the next time that they hang out, we see class, we see him going home to his parents and having, like good family time. And we see like more of his mom waving rainbow flags in his face right when he wakes up and stuff. And look, I have cultivated on purpose a very sex positive, sexuality positive, whatever positive household, Yeah. But my way of doing that doesn't include flair, I guess. Like my way of doing that.
You don't have merch, Melody?
I mean, my way of doing that is just to treat everything as normal, because it is. Yeah.
Well, and I think that this is where I really started having an issue with the way the parents handle things. And I get it. This is a challenging situation for everybody involved. But the minute they hear about Sebastian and they see on his face that there's something going on, they immediately jump to all sorts of conclusions. And
DEFCON most extreme.
And they're like, well, you can't be with an LDS dude.
Yeah.
You should. What do you?
You remember he's Mormon, right?
He's Mormon. What are you doing? 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 Go look at my fucking search history if it's that big of a deal, Mom. Okay.
Sure.
Like, so I like just this entire timeline too of, again, taking when he is exploring himself and figuring out who he is. Because we didn't even touch on this, but like, he's not just queer, he's also half Jewish. And like, it's not like his father is an particularly active practicing Jewish man, but like his grandma is. And so like, he not only is that, like, there's just so many different aspects of it, his identity that do not fit in Provo. Period.
Not to mention that there is a bunch of hypocrisy coming from the parents because they are in an interfaith relationship that was looked down upon by his family until like they got to know her. Like once Bubby got to know the mom, they get along just fine. But the expectation was that he was going to marry a Jewish woman from Hungary, like his family does, right? Yeah. And so they have a very fraught interfaith history as well. And then they're coming out swinging at their kid. From a protective standpoint, a lot of it makes sense. But it is at some point, you just kind of have to let your kid live their lives, you know? You have to let them make the mistakes they're going to make.
Well, not only that, but like so much of this, and it's marked upon on page, that so much of this is their own trauma coming out to play. And it's like, stop putting this on your children. Like,
yeah,
he gets it. And like, there are
also stop ignoring your daughter. You know what I mean? Like, just a little bit.
God. What is even her name? I just think of Haley. Okay. Yeah. I just remember her as angry little goth girl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she gets zero attention in that house.
Yeah. And
at least from what we see.
Oh my God.
And when she does, it's like the mom's subtly trying to get her to wear colors instead of being like a little goth girl. Anyway, the next time that they end up seeing each other, Sebastian invites him over to his house on Friday night to like go over his first draft or like the first few chapters. Mm-hmm. And that to Tanner is like, okay, yeah, that gives me like roughly a week to do a find and replace on our names so that I can make it seem like I'm not writing completely autobiographically.
Hey, Tanner.
I changed the class to like a chemistry honors class.
I know it's too late for you, Tanner, but I am telling you right now from experience, that doesn't work. And Tanner does, in fact, find out the hard way that it doesn't work because Sebastian,
the hard way / the best way. Oh my God, when he shows up, I pulled a quote.
Okay.
Because when he shows up at his house, it says, "Then I panic in a burst because I got my hair cut and put on my best clothes. And what if instead of looking passably Mormon, I look super gay? What if Sebastian's father immediately sees my intentions for what they are and sends me away, forbidding his son from ever talking to me again?"
Oh, because he's going to dinner at Sebastian's.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
Well, in your quote, that's when that quote
I think
is.
You're right.
Because Sebastian invites him.
I don't know. Maybe it's the same night, but the next thing that I have highlighted is he nods and then bites his lip. So ... I'm in your book. And Tanner tries to be like, no, what a weird thing to say. No.
He's like,
certainly not.
Literally right there.
Yeah. He flips to a page and he's like, it says Tanner right here. And he's like, oh no, that's the most common way I misspell my name.
And over here it says Seb.
Yeah.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
So he's like, okay, and then the mom comes in, and the mom is like, can I get you anything? Also, please contact this lady from the singles ward and go to some activities to get to know some people for when you get back from your mission, which you're definitely going on in like 4 months. And when she leaves, Tanner's just like, oh, I am an idiot. Like, even if he were to like me, he's still going on his mission. He's still expected to marry a woman. Like, he's being very cool about it, but he has not told me that he's interested in guys or me or anything. And then Sebastian goes, let's go on a hike. There's been a lot for both of us to process. Mm-hmm. And so they go on this hike, and Sebastian's like, you seem really upset. And Tanner's like, would you even be able to, like, call me when you're on a mission? You know, like, I'm just now realizing that this is what's happening. Yeah, he went from 0 to committed relationship way fast.
The sheer high school of this book is intense because he's like, I mean, like, what if he has gone from a single queer kid in Provo to practically married with kids with Sebastian and a mortgage. Like, by the way, he has no confirmation that Sebastian is even into dudes.
No,
but
none.
He's already like, how are we going to talk while you're going? It's like, Tanner, you're not. He's going on mission. He's not gay, as far as Tanner knows.
Well, and you're also, like, not friends. This is the second time you've ever hung out on purpose.
This is your TA. He is paid to be there.
Yeah, he's looking at your class assignment, dude. And, like, look, Tanner's not wrong, right? Tanner's gut is telling him all the right things. But objectively, Tanner, sit the fuck down.
Tanner's reading between the lines. Tanner is picking up something I don't even think Sebastian realizes he's putting down. But,
sure.
like, it doesn't change the fact
that it's completely bananas. It's like when that guy in high school told me that he thought, you would just move to base with me when he graduated from high school. Yeah. He was going into the army. And I was like, don't you have to be married to live on base with someone? And he was like, well, yeah. I broke up with him immediately. Anyway, we weren't even actually together in my mind. Like, we weren't even.
So fucking high school.
So high school.
So fucking high. So they're on this mountain. They've gone on this little hike, and it's confession times. It is.
Yeah. He says, you're attracted to guys? And he's like, yeah, I'm attracted to guys and girls. And Sebastian says one of the most, mundane but tragic things ever. He says, why wouldn't you just be with a girl if you can? It would be so much easier. And Tanner's like, that's not really how bisexuality, pansexuality works. Like, I fall in love with the person, not the parts. And so, like, you can't help who you're attracted to. And then he says, in the quietest voice ever, Sebastian says, I think I've always been attracted to guys. And Tanner's like, oh, okay. And he's like trying not to make any sudden movements, you know? He's like very excited about this, but he's also like, he knows it's very fraught.
Don't scare the skittish wildlife away.
Yes, exactly.
Because, like, if I move too fast, Sebastian is going to disappear into the bushes, never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again. And like, that's rich coming from Tanner, who just asked if like they were going to be able to chat during their long distance relationship.
Tanner, you don't need to hit the brakes, but I do need you to tap them.
I love him.
Know?
I need you to remember there is a brake pedal. Like, that's all, really, at this point. Anyway, so he says, like, so you've never been with a guy? And Sebastian's like, no, never. Like, I tried to change.
Tanner starts realizing he's probably also never been with a girl either, because he is, in fact, extremely
devout.
Yeah. Like,
he might have had, like, girlfriends or something, but he definitely wouldn't be one of the Mormons who's like had sex and then is gonna like still get married in the temple or whatever. But Tanner says, I've kissed guys, but honestly, I've never felt like this. He lets that sink in for a beat. And then Sebastian says, I tried to change, and he squints, to not even let myself imagine how it would feel being with. This is like a punch to my solar plexus. But then I meant you, he said. Ooh. And then
I'm such a jaded, ancient creature.
Okay, tell
hearing
me everything.
this, I read this, and it was so cute and so sweet, and just, we're so young. That's all I could think the entire time. You are so young.
Yeah.
Is this the first out queer person you've ever, a kind of out queer person that you've ever actually met, Sebastian?
I mean, yes.
I just, you're both so, I've never felt like this before. Yeah. You've met like 200 people in your life, but okay. Continuing on.
And Tanner says, I've never felt this way before. And Sebastian says, me neither. And then as Tanner turns to him, like, it says, it happened so fast. 1 second he's staring at my face, and the next his mouth is on mine. Sebastian's the one who like goes in for the kiss.
I was so fucking proud of Sebastian.
Same.
I was like, you go, bro. He's like, you know what? I am going to experience this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am done waffling. I am kissing this boy.
Yeah. And he can tell, like, he knows the mechanics of it. So he's obviously kissed someone before. But he says, oh my God, Tanner says in his inner monologue, it isn't his first kiss, I know that, but it's his first real one. And that's how the chapter ends. Oh! And then they have to, like, walk down this mountain again. And Tanner has to drop Seb off at his house and then, like, go home and act totally normal. And Tanner is trying to figure out a way to, like, check in without making it, like, a huge deal. Again, no sudden movements is Tanner thinking to himself.
Well, also, he is very hyper aware of parent spy software because of his mom. And he literally tells Sebastian, he's like, hey, just a
FYI.
heads up.
Yeah.
This is a thing that exists, and it is very easy for a parent to get access to this software. So, like,
right.
I just need you to know about it before you start doing things that could really fuck things up for you.
Yeah. And he checks in. He's like, are you okay with what we did up there? And Sebastian's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm very, very good. And he's still a little bit worried, but he, like, reaches out to try and touch Sebastian's arm, like, just on instinct, like, just a tiny connection. And he pulls back and he's like, whoa, we can't do that here. Like, anybody could see. We can't act like that here. And Tanner is like, okay, yep. All right, fair enough. I knew this was coming, but fine.
Yeah, so we see a little bit more like flat, like montage-y style of like him in class, him and Autumn, him and his family, him and all of this. But then there is a point where they're spending time together, and this was so gutting, and it just made me have a lot of feelings, because at one point they are necking, essentially, these youths later, and he says, I want to know everything about you. Sebastian does. And Tanner says, I'll tell you anything. And Sebastian goes, are you my boyfriend?
Yeah.
And Tanner says, yeah? Yes, I am.
And the way that passage is written, because he's like, everything feels like yes. It's one of the most lyrical passages in here.
Yeah. Well, but then Tanner says the most devastating thing, because he says, even if I'm your boyfriend now, I won't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, babies. Oh, God.
I know.
I was just so sad for them. And like sad for just everybody involved, really. You know?
Yeah, but this is
he can't
also...
he can't even talk to his best friend about it, because he's not out to his best friend, and his best friend's kind of in love with him, and he can't tell his family. He can't talk about this to his parents, because his parents are gonna be like, no Mormon boys, which, like, that's kind of the only option here.
You moved him to Provo, is what you did. Like, if you didn't want him dating Mormon boys, then you probably shouldn't have moved back to Provo. Well, and the other thing that happens right after this hike is that as they're texting back and forth, he promises Sebastian that he's going to change as many details as possible so that people don't realize it's about him and Seb.
Yeah. Well, and this is definitely like a coming of age young adult novel for both of them. Like because we get a little bit from Sebastian's point of view later in the book, but we see so much from Tanner's point of view of Sebastian kind of working through all of this, because Tanner doesn't have the religious hang up about this entire thing that Sebastian does. Because from Sebastian's point of view, he's like, we hear him explicitly stating to Tanner about how the church says this is bad, but every time I pray, it feels right.
Yeah.
Like,
I keep on checking in with God, and it feels like approval because I don't feel guilty for what we've done. So anyway, Sebastian shows up at his house, right? And this is the, I'm sorry, I have to read this to listener because it's so good. You already talked about it a tiny bit. This is when Sebastian tells him that, like, he prayed about it and he doesn't feel guilty. And then he says, like, come over here, because Sebastian's sitting on Tanner's bed. And Sebastian initiates again. And it says everything feels like yes. His mouth is yes. His hands are yes. And over me, on top of me now, he's moving, and yes, yes, yes. His shirt comes off. My shirt comes off. Skin to skin is Y-E-S. And I've never been on bottom like this, never wrapped my leg around someone's hip, never felt this kind of shifting and friction. He tells me he thinks about me every second. Yes. And tells me he's never felt this way. He likes to suck on my bottom lip. He wants to pause time so we can kiss for hours. Yes. And I tell him truthfully that nothing ever felt as good as this does. And he laughs into my mouth again because I'm sure it's obvious how into this I am. I'm a monster beneath him with arching hips, an octopus with hands everywhere at once. I don't think anything in the history of time has felt this good. I want to know everything about you, he says into me, frantic now. Mouth moving over my jaw, stubble scraping my neck. I'll tell you anything. Are you my boyfriend, he asks, and then sucks my bottom lip before laughing at himself, as if this isn't the most amazing thing anyone has ever said to me in the history of my life. Yes? Boyfriend, yes. Even if I'm your boyfriend now, I won't tell anyone about this. I know. His hands come over me, between us, oh my God, and through my track pants it seems so innocent and so dirty at the same time, but the dirty is washed away when I look up and realize he's watching my face, awestruck. And I get it. I've never done that either. Like, the way that this is written is bananas, and the way that this scene ends is that his dad walks in on them accidentally and then says, oh, and shuts the door, like slams it. Yeah. And this made me think so much about the cabin scene when Shane's dad comes in Heated Rivalry, you know, because Sebastian immediately, like, head in hands, he's pacing around the room being like, oh my God, this is bad. This is really, really bad. Like, your dad saw us. And he's like, hey, it's really not. You know, my dad will not tell anyone.
Say anything to your dad.
No, absolutely not. And he says, if anything, he's just going to talk to me. And in his mind, he's like, he's for sure going to talk to me about it because I can't claim we're just friends anymore.
Yeah. And so when Sebastian goes home, Tanner and his dad do talk. And basically,
this was good parenting.
This was a good conversation. I was super into this because his dad was basically like, listen, I don't have the same hangups your mom does.
Yeah.
But you can't use our house to go. I'm assuming his dad doesn't know. His parents don't know.
Right.
And that's his own decision, but I cannot co-sign you using our house
to sneak behind his parents' back.
Yeah. And
the other thing he tells him is, I need you to tend to your other relationships in a way that a lot of people don't when they get a new romantic relationship. Like, I want you to be a good son to your mother. I want you to be a really good best friend to Autumn. Partially because, if it works out, you're going to want friends who accept you. And if for some reason it doesn't, you need somebody to help you pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
And this was it was so smart and kind and beautiful. And essentially, he's like, I know you're going to experiment. What you do with your body is yours. But under my roof, I do have some limits. And one of those is using this house to sneak behind his parents' back. Because he has choices. He's 19. He doesn't have to live with his parents anymore. This is an active choice he's making, you know? Mm-hmm. So, he does go over and talk to Autumn. Turns out she's, a little bit jealous. She's been a little bit jealous because she knows they're hanging out a lot. And it seems like Sebastian is kind of taking something that used to be hers, but she also doesn't know what that means at all. And she's just like, ugh. And he realizes that, he's been in such a daze that he really hasn't been paying any attention to her. In fact, she asked him to prom in the car the other day as maybe it won't be
Besties
drama. Let's just go together.
Yeah. And then she ends up with Eric, who...
Yeah, sure.
Whatever, he asks her, she kind of has a little crush on him. And so, Eric does ask her to prom. And Tanner says, well, maybe I'll take Sasha. And Autumn's like, okay. And then regularly for the rest of the book, she's like, so did you ask Sasha to prom? And he's like, because he's got a boyfriend, but he can't tell anybody. And I'm just like, oh, babe, oh my God. It's fraught. It's fraught. That's the only word I can use to describe so much of this book, because I can't think of anything else, because all of it is so fraught. All of it is the most emotionally upheaving thing that has ever happened to them, because they're so young.
Yeah. And when he goes home from Autumn's house, he does basically tell his dad that he needs to level with him about the start of his and his mom's relationship. So we get a little bit more on that. And the dad pulls his chin up so they're looking each other in the eye. And he says, are you willing to be a secret? Maybe you are for now, but this is your life and it will stretch out before you. And you are the only person who can make it whatever you want it to be.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
So, okay, he ends up inviting him to dinner.
Yep. And dinner with like everybody.
Yeah, his grandparents are coming into town.
It's his whole family. It's all of his siblings, like multiple generations of family. Invites him over and he's giving him a tour of the house, introducing him to everybody. And at dinner, the biggest thing is it is very clear. This is kind of a wake-up call for Tanner that nothing has actually changed for Sebastian, because his parents are talking about the tour and then his mission and all of these things. And he's like, okay, mission is not boyfriend compatible.
Yeah.
Also, his mom is actively trying to hook him up with a nice Mormon girl from town.
Yeah.
Like, it is just yet another reminder that he doesn't fit.
Well, and then they go on a hike and Tanner's like, when did you know? And Sebastian's like, what, that you're bi? And he's like, no, about you being gay. And Sebastian's like, I'm not. Tanner says, not what? And he says, not that. Something seems to catch in the spinning wheel of my pulse and it trips. For a breath, my chest hurts. You're not gay? I mean, he says, flustered, trying again. I'm attracted to guys and I'm with you right now, but I'm not gay. That's a different choice. And I'm not choosing that path. And he says, well, like, look at it. You're not gay and you're not straight. You're you. And he says, I'm not gay. I'm not straight. I'm me. He tries to like pass it off as this thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then they end that conversation by making out. And Tanner's like, oh, I like that. But also, I think my chest has been ripped out of my body. And I sort of don't know how to reconcile those two things at the same time. Yeah. Oh my God. And then one of the most beautiful sentences in the whole book is uttered. It is Tanner saying in his inner monologue, he wants to read my book, the book about falling in love with him. But how can I send my heart to him when he's just said in no uncertain terms that he doesn't speak its language?
Yeah.
How fucking dare you, Christina and Lauren?
There's a lot of little lines like that in this book that are...
How dare you?
They ache.
They ache. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tanner's still totally hiding from his best friend. So now he has to sit next to his best friend having the most hugest, biggest, earth-shattering, soul-consuming crush on this boy and, like, try not to be obvious about it.
Well, and, like, I just want to go back to the quote that you just did for a second, though, because I don't know, like, I don't really know what our percentage, like, what our listener...
Demographics?
Yep, that's the word. I don't know what the demographic of our peoples are that are queer.
Okay.
But like, boy, and this is a very broad brush to paint with, right? But if they can't say the word,
yeah, there's
a lot of unpacking to do on their part. And like, these are young people, right? But it's not just a young person thing. Like, it's
years of dogma.
Yeah, and it's an uphill, it's going to be a huge uphill battle. I'm not saying those relationships can't work. That's not even close to the thing. But like, woof, if you're talking to somebody and this is the definition of that word, and they cannot use that word, in this instance, gay, to describe themselves, or some other variation, right? Maybe gay doesn't fit quite right, but like they cannot acknowledge their queerness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I was just so sad for them because like you hear like, oh God, like it felt like a dagger to the heart.
Yeah.
And like poor Tanner, especially because like Tanner has been forced into the closet, so he's not fully comfortable referring to himself. Like he knows what he is, but at the same time, like he hasn't used this to describe himself in a long time because he can't, because he's not out except for family. It's just, oh my God, there's the web we weave.
And it's, I think it's especially a dagger because for Tanner, this relationship feels simultaneously inevitable and impossible.
Yeah.
It's all consuming, but it can never happen. And he, for really good reasons, has no idea what the fuck to do with all of that, you know, other than like maybe just live in the moment. So anyway, this is when they end up at another activity, like at the beach or whatever, and somebody calls somebody a homophobic slur, and Autumn and he decide to leave because this is not either of their scene. And Manny comes over.
Manny.
I love him.
Oh, Manny.
He's like, you know that guy's stupid, right? And Tanner's like, sure, man. And he's like, you know, I would never let anybody talk like that about you, right? And he's like, uh-huh. I don't know what we're talking about. And Manny's like, oh, no, me neither. Yeah, no, yeah. So see you later. See you at school, Manny says.
And Autumn, because she is more perceptive than a rock on the side of the road, immediately picks up some stuff and is like, what the hell just happened?
What was that about? Yeah.
Also, I need listener to know, and you, Melody, how did Manny know? We never find out.
Yeah, we do.
How?
I mean, it's written very lyrically, but because Manny saw them on hikes. And as they get more comfortable with their relationship and more comfortable with being in the great outdoors together, they're making out all over the place, not realizing that other people could be on hike.
He actually saw something, not just them leaving for a hike. I thought he saw them leaving for a hike and had made some leaps. You think that he actually witnessed something that was explicitly gay?
Yeah, I think that's what Tanner, that's the conclusion Tanner comes to.
Okay.
That it's never confirmed explicitly, but Tanner's like, oh shit, if he saw us on a hike, like hike is basically code word for let's go like dry hump for a while, you know? And so like, that's also exactly how Christina Lauren wrote it, because they are eloquent and classy. And that's how it is.
I do love how beautifully written the book is. And then sometimes Tanner would just drop a bomb of a line that was like
absolutely
very crass and fun and entertaining. Okay. I did not pick that up, but now you have put it in my hands for me. Thank you so much, Melody.
Yeah, sure. I didn't get that till the second read through. So
Melody
anyway,
Carlisle, how many times have you read this book?
It's only been twice, but I also like the second time I read it, it was on 2-speed and I was also going through the text. So it's almost like 3 times, you know, it was like audible and visual. That makes sense.
I love you.
Yeah. I
can't.
I have notes and opinions.
I cannot fathom you, but I do love you.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's very sweet of you.
Anyway.
Okay. Hold on. Ugh. So the next thing that happens is that Sebastian texts.
Is this not the come out to Autumn?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that also happens. Go ahead.
Because this hit like a fucking freight train.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it was acknowledged in book because she's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Because by the way, before he has ever come out to her, she has been like, man, do you think Sebastian's into you?
Yeah, do you
that's
think
kind of like,
if he's
this is
gay, I hope his
crazy.
family's cool about it.
yeah, exactly. And so she's been picking up something, but she doesn't know what she's picking up, right?
Yeah.
But then he explains it to her and he's like, I'm bi, I've known since I was 13, yet, etc. And then this was such a fucking mood. Is she says, if I look anything other than fine with this, please understand that I'm only upset that you didn't tell me sooner. And I love her little caveat of like, or like warning disclaimer of like, I am fine with this, but my face might be doing something crazy.
I have to rewrite 2.5 years of our relationship.
And I did love that. But then immediately my fucking hackles rose.
Uh-oh.
Because I was like, go fuck yourself. You're not entitled to information about anybody like that. Period.
I don't think she meant it like that. I understand the hackles, but she didn't mean it like that.
I know she didn't, but the hackles still go up. And I love that he acknowledged this, at least internally, where he's like, I don't really need to point out that the timing of me sharing this information isn't up to her. And I just really like that acknowledgement because it did soothe my hackles right back down. Because I thought it was going to be, if it never got acknowledged between them. No, I didn't think it was going to be a conflict at all. I thought it was going to be a throwaway line implying that she deserves to know this information. This is like whatever. And then the line, so the hackles went back down. It wasn't actually hackles for the characters. It was hackles for the author. Where I was going to be like,
hey, pals, this is not a cool assumption. This is not good to put out in the culture.
Yeah, exactly. But then it was just like really sweet because then they are like talking and it was so, boy, Autumn is like, but I've seen you kiss girls. And he's like, bisexual.
Yeah.
I also kiss boys. I've literally had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
At 13. Before I was moved here and forced into the closet by my mother.
Yeah.
And then it immediately just kind of launches into this best friend times where she just loves him and supports him. And she's like, hell yeah. Except, oh my God, Sebastian.
Except he does not tell her about Sebastian. He tells her that he has feelings for Sebastian. He does not tell her it's reciprocated or that anything has happened.
Oh my God. And then they are shopping for prom stuff.
Yeah.
I think we zippy zap there. This is a different day. Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It's the same day. It's fine. Whatever.
Okay. Well, so they're prom shopping for things. And she's like, so that's why you're not asking anybody to prom. Why don't you ask him? And he's like, why would I ever do that? He's talking out loud. And I'm like, buddy boy, this is a public space. And then lo and behold, she comes out of the dressing room and looks horrified because he's like, he's our mentor. It's so
obvious.
Agonizingly obvious who exactly he's talking about. He may as well have put out a notice in the local newspaper with his full legal name, address, and social security number.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she looks horrified past his shoulder and these two
of their classmates are walking by furiously texting. Yeah.
As they leave the thing, it's like, oh my God, that never comes back.
Never comes back. I loved it.
I was so relieved because I was not going to be happy if that ended up being the conflict, like the final conflict, how everything comes out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
I love that there was no conflict of how everything came out. You know? I loved that.
I mean, we don't see it on page.
What do you mean?
Oh, their relationship coming out. I thought you meant about like my brain went to Sebastian and I'm like, oh, there's definitely conflict.
Are you
Sebastian
kidding me?
Coming out.
No.
What are you talking about?
That's not at all what I meant. Yeah. So then he gets a text from Sebastian like one random Saturday or something. And he's like, hey, I just got done with my service. Do you mind if I come over? And so when Tanner opens the door, Sebastian immediately like pushes him against the wall and is making out with his whole face. And it's hot. And then Tanner's like, oh shit, I should probably close the door. And it's like Sebastian like comes back to himself and he looks around and like confirms that there's no family members there and stuff. And he's like, yeah, everybody's gone. It's okay. What's going on? Are you okay? And it's the first time that he has hit a true conflict between his religion and his relationship with Tanner. Because apparently they do this like activity, ritual, something or other, a teaching moment situation where they have to like walk around blindfolded and stuff, and then they have to be like lost in the woods, and then they have to stay blindfolded and like follow the voice of somebody that has come to get them. And today it was his dad. And when his dad calls his name, he like stumbles over to him and they have this huge hug. And the dad is like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you know, he's saying all of these wonderful things. And then he's like, I've had dreams about that, though, because I thought to myself, would you love me still if you knew about Tanner? And he's like, tears are streaming down his face. And he is thinking, like, I've always wanted my dad's approval. And I'm realizing that, like, my dad's approval is kind of a stand-in or a confirmation of God's approval. And I don't know that I would still have that if they knew about this. And so Tanner is trying desperately to be there with him and to comfort him and to do as much as he can without having the cultural backdrop to really draw from, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then there's like more growth, more scenes of them together, more scenes of them come. And at one point, he goes over to Sebastian's house on an afternoon, and Sebastian's mom lets him in. Sebastian's mom tells him that
take the cookies to his room. Yeah.
Tanner sees that he's actually outside. So now they are outside in the backyard, and then they hear through his parents' window his dad come in to talk to his mom and go, well, I've been talking to so-and-so's parents, Brett's parents, because Brett came out as gay and married his, or like has a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And he's just sitting there watching. Tanner is watching Sebastian's face just go stone, because we are now unintentionally hearing his parents not give. It doesn't matter Brett's happiness. It is, what is it doing to his parents? How is it going to affect his family?
Okay?
What is the community gonna do? Like all of these things. It doesn't actually have anything to do with Brett and his happiness. It all has to do with everything else. And it is a very clear, explicit disapproval of what Brett has done. And so now this just tacks a whole nother conflict.
And it's even worse because Tanner is like, I'm so sorry that you had to hear that, Sebastian. And he looks at this look of resignation on Sebastian's face, and he's like, what do you mean? This is just the way it is.
And he says, it's just the way it is. So you'll go off to wherever and preach the gospel and tell more people that being gay is wrong. And Sebastian says, being gay isn't wrong, but it's not God's plan either. He shakes his head. And I think this moment right here is when it really hits me that Sebastian's identity isn't queer.
Yep.
It's not gay. It's not even soccer player or boyfriend or son. It's Mormon.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
That's where we're going to stop for today. We'll be back tomorrow with the second half of this coming-of-age romance. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, You can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.